All right, Tuesday. Let's see what's happening in the market and some of the things we talked about already. Let me close out some of my windows and get to you all. All right. So right now we are sitting currently in a Walmart 120 call here. I took this call based off of the break of structure here. You see how we broke this structure here, wicked up, and then we pulled back down. This is called a break and a retest. We broke out of here, then we retested it here, right? It fell down, but then we came back this resistance. We lost it. This time we held it and pushed through. So it's currently sitting in a 120 call on Walmart. What was that? Uh January 23rd expiration, 120 call on Walmart. Currently about 6, 7 minutes ago, I was up 7%. I'm only looking for like 10 to 15% on that. Again, I'm one of those traders, 10, 15%. I'm good. If it blasts past that and gives me 30, 40, 50, 60%, I'm okay with that also. Now, we talked about NVIDIA, right? We were talking about how I love these falling wedges. This is one thing you'll hear me talk about quite a bit here, these falling wedges. And we finally got our breakout of that falling wedge on NVIDIA. But remember, I'm a retest trader. So we got a breakout here. We haven't yet retested this break of structure or this falling wedge. So this is what I'll be waiting for this to come back and retest and then push up on NVIDIA to get us back to what is this, about 193-ish range, right? So that's what I'll be waiting for. I'll be honest with you, I may miss out on the money because it may just continue to push up, but still following my rules. I want this to pull back down and then give me a second bounce for me to jump into that play. Also don't like the fact that down here we're up near some highs where we start seeing some reversal. So again, pull back here, then break out. That's what I'll be looking for on NVIDIA. And if that happens, if we get this bounce down here, again, this will be a retest of the breaker structure, a retest of this falling wedge, right around, you can see this red line here, right around that VWAP also. So that would be 3 confirmations if we get back down to 185.91 and then break. I'll probably go like a 187.50 call, push it out a couple of weeks and should be in the money on that pretty shortly. MU, let's look at MU. So MU, talked about MU yesterday or this morning, I believe, with the chat. Let's see here what I saw. So yeah, so this morning, 7:54, MU was respecting this trend line here, right? Now, for us to go long on this, what I would need to happen, you see where we have this wick right here where seller stepped in and then we start having this body forming. What I would have needed to see before going long was this wick to be hitting the line like down here. You see this wick hits the line and bounces up. This wick hitting the line and then us bouncing. That's when I would have got in for a call. So that was what I called out. I said, let's wait for that to happen. If this flips and the wick touches the line and bounces, we'll take calls. But if we lose 343, we take puts. And we can see what happened here. Right here-ish, we lost the 343 and this thing came all the way down and touched at 337. So again, if you're an options trader, you know that's a 6-point move in options. I mean, sorry, in the stock price, but in options, you know, that's 15, 20%. So that one played out in our favor. Love to see that. What else do we have? I think, yeah, SPY. So we looked at SPY too. So SPY had this crazy wick in the pre-market. And the call here was like, look, if SPY holds above 695, we can take a 700 call. But if we lose 693, we take 690 puts. So let's go look and see how SPY played out. All right. So we had that wick that faked us out. We came down here and we lost 693. So the thing with this one, like it did go in our favor as far as losing 693, but this would have been one you would have really had to watch. I mean, that's a dollar move, depending on how far out your expiration is. You know, that's a couple of percentage, but you also still have to really watch so you can fake out on this wick. Looks like there's a lot of chop still happening on SPY. So for me, I'm not going to touch this one yet. I still want us to get back above 695, right? A break retest, or really lose this 693 as a break retest and pull down. So for now, not really messing with that. Also, we got to see the VIX doing the opposite, right? So VIX, we got our breakout. Now it looks like we're going to try to come down and retest. I want to see this retest first and push back up. So if the VIX pushes back up and runs to 16, 17, we're definitely going to see that SPY break and come back down to about 590. But if the VIX drops back to try to retest this a little falling wedge here, and we hit back around 14, that's where it's going to push us up closer towards those 700 calls on SPY. Tesla, we got a little bit of action today on Tesla. So Tesla got a little bit of action. If we see where we started today, we're right around here. Man, this thing came out around 445, ran back up to 450. Still looking a little bearish though. Look, if we're looking like this, I do see this as a pretty much a double top forming. If we lose this VWAP here, I can see us pulling back down on Tesla. So that's what I'll be waiting for. Tesla to basically lose 450 to pull that back down. I'm not going to touch it until then. And then I'm not touching it until it gets above 454 as a break and retest to go call. So, the hardest part for traders is the patience, and it takes a lot of patience because we just want to jump in things the moment we see a break. Can't do that. That's how you get clapped. That's how you lose money in this game. So it's all about patience. Let's look at Apple. All right. So Apple, I don't think we're out of the clear yet, right? We kind of had this already broken out as far as bear flag here on Apple. I don't think we're out of the clear yet. Apple has to break above 261 and then bounce and retest, but we can still, push this thing up and pull right back down here. So again, still not out of the clear on Apple. I'm not touching it, even though here, if you were a trader that got into this could have been a good opening at 258 to run this up. But this all happened, pretty much in pre-market. So yeah, not touching Apple yet. What else is out there? PLTR. I think I missed this one. Yeah, I had my eye on PLTR for some 180 calls. Definitely missed it. So now I gotta wait to see what happens. Either we get some rejection here and pull back down to 175, or we break, above this and push back up. So what I want to see here is a loss of 179, basically. Then take some puts down to 174, 175. Good little 4 or 5 point move. But again, that's some good money when it comes to options trading. So yeah, just want to give you some intraday updates on some of the trades that we were looking at, and then what else is out there. So here's what I'm seeing on SPX and SPY, right? We had a nice little run, especially with SPX, right? We broke out, we lost our retest here, which was that all-time high at one point. We lost that retest and got us to fall down. Looks like we're coming to hit this again. Is this going to finally get us there? Or if you have eyes, you see here's a shoulder, here's a head. Oh, this could mess around and be a shoulder and really bring us down as a head and shoulder. So gotta watch this. Let's see what happens. How hard do we reject here? Right, we're already rejected from the 69.78 down to 69.73. If this thing flips over to where it looks like this, like a bearish pin bar, if this becomes a bearish pin bar, I'm probably going to take some puts on this and get this thing to pull us back down to about this 69.30, 69.40 range. So that's what I'll be looking for there. But again, just like with SPY, we need the VIX to do the opposite. So for that to break, we need the VIX to also to push back above 16. And then once those two things happen, they're like these levers that do this. Once those two things happen, then we can expect this to really pull down. So that's what I'm looking for on SPX. All right. Hope y'all have a good Tuesday. Peace.